She was fired for taking a medical leave of absence. "I'm ashamed of you." After following all the correct procedures, Sarah, a devoted office worker, took a 3-week vacation. She lost the job she loved because of her absence, but the truth would soon come to light. The CEO came upon a revelation the following day that would alter everything. This is her tale. Welcome to Tales Unveiled, everyone. Let's begin. Sarah Mitchell was the type of worker that every business desired. She had been employed at Turner and Brooks Financial for 3 years at the age of 28, never missing a day of work. In the enormous office building in downtown Chicago, she was always the first to arrive and the last to depart. Sarah truly cared about the business and its employees, in contrast to many of her coworkers who thought of their jobs as nothing more than a paycheck. She would remember everyone's birthdays, bring coffee for the security officers on chilly mornings, and stay late to assist coworkers in meeting deadlines. She was even known by name to the cleaners. Sarah and her cat, Mozart, shared a tiny apartment and lived alone. She never complained, even though her meager entry-level pay as an accounts assistant was insufficient to pay her bills. When her coworkers questioned her about why she didn't seek out higher-paying employment, Sarah would simply respond with a grin and the words, "Some things are more important than money." Nobody at Turner and Brooks knew much about Sarah's personal life. She was private that way, always listening to others' stories, but rarely sharing her own. What they did know was that she was reliable, hardworking, and kind, exactly the type of employee any company would want to keep. Everything changed on a cold Monday morning in October. Sarah walked into her supervisor, David's office, with an unusual request. She needed 3 weeks of medical leave. 3 weeks? David was surprised. "Is everything okay?" "Yes," Sarah said quietly. "I just need a medical procedure. Nothing serious, but the recovery time is important." Given her perfect record, David approved the leave without question. Sarah had all the proper documentation from her doctor, though it was vague about the exact nature of the procedure. She promised to work remotely when possible during her recovery. What nobody knew was that Sarah had been leaving work early every Thursday for the past 6 months, telling colleagues she had yoga class. The truth was much different, but Sarah kept that to herself. 3 weeks later, Sarah returned to work. She moved a bit slowly and seemed tired, but her smile was the same as ever. Her colleagues noticed she was taking more pain medication than usual, but when asked, she would just say she was having back problems. Everything might have continued normally if not for what happened next. Richard Turner, the CEO of Turner and Brooks, had been under tremendous stress. The company was facing its biggest merger yet, and he had been working around the clock. He was known for being tough but fair. Until recently, in the past few months, he had become short-tempered and demanding, firing 3 employees for minor infractions. On Sarah's second day back, she was called to the CEO's office. Richard Turner sat behind his massive desk, flanked by 2 people from HR. "Sarah," Turner said coldly, "your recent absence has made us question your commitment to this company. We're in the middle of our biggest deal ever, and you disappear for 3 weeks with vague medical excuses." But my leave was approved. Sarah protested, wincing slightly as she shifted in her chair. "I have all the documentation. The decision is final," Turner interrupted. "We need people who put the job first. You're fired." News of Sarah's firing spread quickly through the office. Many were shocked. She had been the model employee after all. But nobody dared question Richard Turner's decision, especially not now. What nobody at Turner and Brooks knew was that Richard Turner was carrying his own heavy burden. His 16-year-old son, James, had been critically ill for the past year. The boy needed a kidney transplant, and time was running out. Turner had been practically living at the hospital while trying to run his company. Just 2 weeks ago, a miracle had happened. An anonymous donor had been found. James had received his transplant and was recovering well. It should have been the happiest time in Turner's life, but the stress of the merger had him taking his anxiety out on everyone around him. The story might have ended there if not for Lisa Chin in HR. While processing Sarah's termination paperwork, she noticed something odd about the medical documentation. She remembered her sister, a nurse at City Hospital, mentioning a remarkable case of an anonymous organ donor who had given a kidney to save a teenager's life. One evening over dinner, Lisa showed her sister Sarah's paperwork. "Wait," her sister said, eyes widening. 3 weeks ago, a kidney donation. The pieces fell into place. Hospital records confirmed what seemed impossible. Sarah's kidney had gone to James Turner, the CEO's own son. She had been fired for taking time off to save her boss's child. That night, Lisa couldn't sleep. She knew she had to do something, but revealing private medical information could cost her her job. Still, some things were more important than money. Isn't that what Sarah always said? The next morning, Lisa walked into Richard Turner's office with the hospital records. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. "Sir," she said, placing the papers on his desk, "there's something you need to see about Sarah Mitchell." Turner's face went pale as he read the documents. This can't be right." "It is, sir," Lisa replied. "The anonymous donor who saved James, it was Sarah. She never knew who received her kidney, and you never knew she was the one who saved your son." Turner sat heavily in his chair. For months, he had watched his son grow weaker every day, praying for a miracle. When the anonymous donor appeared, it had seemed like an angel had answered their prayers. Now he realized he'd have fired that angel for being uncommitted to his company. That evening, Turner sat with his wife and son, telling them everything. Through tears, James, growing stronger every day thanks to Sarah's kidney, couldn't believe it. "Dad," he said quietly, "you have to make this right." The next morning, Sarah was sitting at her small kitchen table, scrolling through job listings on her laptop, while Mozart the cat purred in her lap. She hadn't told her parents about losing her job yet. They had always worried about her putting others before herself. When the doorbell rang, Sarah assumed it was another package delivery. Instead, she found Richard Turner standing on her doorstep, looking nothing like the stern CEO who had fired her days ago. His expensive suit was wrinkled, and his eyes were red. "Mitchell," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "May I come in?" Sarah hesitated. Her small apartment felt shabby compared to what the CEO must be used to, but she nodded and led him inside. "I know this might seem strange," Turner began, standing awkwardly in her tiny living room, "but I need to ask you something. 3 weeks ago, did you donate a kidney at City Hospital?" Sarah's face paled. She hadn't told anyone at work about the donation, not wanting special treatment. "How did you?" "The recipient?" Turner's voice cracked. "It was my son, James. You saved his life." Sarah sank into her chair. "Your son, but I never knew. They keep donor information confidential." "He's 16, Turner continued, pulling out his phone and showing her a photo of a smiling teenager. "He was dying. We've been waiting for a match for so long." Then a miracle happened. An anonymous donor appeared. That donor was you. Sarah stared at the photo, tears filling her eyes. "He looks so happy. Is he doing okay?" "Thanks to you, yes. He's getting stronger every day." Turner's professional demeanor crumbled completely. "And I fired you. I fired you for taking time off to save my son's life." Sarah was quiet for a moment. "I never knew who was getting my kidney," she finally said. "It didn't matter to me. I just knew someone's child needed it." "Why didn't you tell me when I fired you? Why didn't you explain?" Sarah gave a small smile. "Would you have believed me? Besides, that's not why I did it. I didn't donate a kidney to keep my job. I did it because it was right." Turner pulled out a chair and sat down, his shoulders slumping. "I've been so focused on this merger, on profits and deadlines, I forgot what really matters. I almost lost my son, and then I punished the person who saved him." Today, Sarah is back at Turner and Brooks, but not as an accounts assistant. She runs their new employee welfare department, ensuring that kindness is never punished again. The company started a foundation supporting organ donors, And their medical leave policy is now the most generous in the industry. In the company lobby, there's a plaque that reads, "Sometimes the greatest acts of dedication happen outside the office." Below it hangs a photo of Sarah and James Turner at a charity run, both wearing shirts that say, "Share your spare." Richard Turner changed too. Every year, on the anniversary of the transplant, he gathers the company to remind them what really matters. Success isn't just about profits, he tells them. It's about being human first. As for Sarah, she still drives her old car and lives in her modest apartment with Mozart the cat. When asked why she donated her kidney to a stranger, her answer is simple: because everyone deserves a chance, even the boss's son. Loved this story? Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Don't forget to check out the video currently on your screen. You won't want to miss it. See you next time.